Hello, this is a video tutorial on how to connect a Windows 7 workstation to a Microsoft VPN. The first thing we're going to do in showing what happens to connect to a VPN is ascertaining the current state. So we'll jump into our workstation, bring up a command prompt, and do an IP config. On my particular workstation, you can see I have a single Ethernet adapter, and it's got that single connection. I have some other IPv6 information, but no actual VPN connection information. This will change once we connect to the VPN. So the first step is actually creating the VPN connection, and we'll go to the control panel and network and sharing center. And then we're going to set up a new connection or network. We're going to connect to a workplace. Notice the VPN labeling there. And we're going to create a new connection. I already have VPN connection 1, but for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to use my internet connection off that single adapter that we saw right here. And the VPN server in particular that I'm going to connect to is that. Since I already have another VPN connection, I'll call this VPN connection 2. I want this connection to be available to other users that may log into this workstation under a different name. So I'll check that off. And because I have to make a few changes to the configuration before launching it for the first time, I'm going to say don't connect now. Just set up so I can connect later. My network administrator should have given me authentication credentials, so I'm going to put those in right now. You can show the password, but personally, I don't like to show it. And I do like to remember the password, and in our particular setup, we have no domain to connect to on the VPN itself. Alright, so the connection's ready to use. I'm not going to connect now because I have other things I've got to do to it. So it's closed off. I go back to here, and I change adapter settings. From there, we'll see the local area connection, the VPN connection, and VPN connection 2. I'm going to go to the properties of VPN connection 2. I still like that IP address. Those options are fine. But the type of VPN I'm going to make is a pptp. I am going to require encryption, and I am going to disconnect if the server declines. And I'm only going to allow MS-CHAP version 2. Under networking, I'm going to disconnect the IPv6 settings because our VPN tunnel in particular does not use IPv6. And then under IPv4, I'm going to let it assign basically a DHCP style server assigned address. And under advanced, I'm going to make sure we use the default gateway on the remote network. Basically, I shouldn't have to make any changes here, but since this is where VPN configurations most commonly change, it's good to show that nothing changes here at all. So really, aside from getting rid of IPv6, changing your connection to pptp, and getting rid of anything that is not MS-CHAP v2, we're pretty much set. We don't even change anything in sharing. We hit OK. We're ready to go. So we go back to the VPN connection. I've already got my username and password placed in there, and I connect. And you can see it connected very quickly. It set the domain that was set in the server, and if I run ipconfig again, I will now see my new IP connection. If I ping out, I can do a ping 4222. Let's go ahead and see where that trace actually goes. And sure enough, it goes out through the VPN connection. If it wasn't, let's go ahead and stop this real quick. If I were to disconnect, then now I'm going to use the local area connection itself, its default gateway. Once again, I can ping, but when I run a trace route, I'm going to go back through my old connection, which is a completely different path now than what it was when I was connected to the VPN. And that's it.